AI adoption is on the rise, but many organizations face challenges around data security and limited resources when considering rolling out AI applications. A recent CRM survey shows 31% of IT decision makers say new laptops deployed will be AI PCs within 2 years. How can you best use these capabilities of AI PCs? Here to share how the partnership between Iterate AI, powered by Intel, is designed to meet this growing demand head-on is Kevin Homer from Iterate AI. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks, Kenna. It's great to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Kevin, with so many AI solutions on the market, it's tough to know what will scale and last. What sets this partnership apart as a long-term strategic choice for organizations?
It's a great question, Kenna, and it's one that I talk to organizations a lot about just when I'm presenting Iterate. Iterate at its core is not a product, it's a platform. So we've been around since 2014, and our platform has the ability to create software applications using AI exponentially faster than traditional means. So the AI world, as everyone knows, is changing so fast. And the key is being able to keep up with that. So we have some products that we've created from that platform that we're taking to market. But as the market changes, we can simply go back into the platform and add and change things. That's the new latest and greatest thing with AI, which allows us just to move as the market moves.
Kevin, with data security and performance under constant pressure, especially in distributed environments, how does Generate ensure fast, secure local AI processing for enterprises?
So I came from the cybersecurity world, which is interesting here. I did it for over 20 years. And when I came over to work for an AI company, I had some, just a little remorse about leaving my industry, so to speak, that I had played with for so long. It's really fun that it ends up being here with Iterate. We have a solution that really is a good solution for the cybersecurity professionals. All the things that you're talking about are very, very real. And everyone wants to be progressive and be doing the latest and greatest things and add efficiencies and things like that, but you can't let data security fall by the wayside as a result of that. So our Generate solution has the ability to work offline. And with doing that, it does not put your data at risk. So a lot of other AI assistants that are out there give employees the opportunity to say upload, for example, information and ask ChatGPT or something like that to summarize that information. Our product is not bidirectional. So you can't make a mistake because a lot of times it's just human error where people aren't trying to do something bad. They just are trying to be efficient. So when they go to upload that information, they actually upload HIPAA data or social security numbers or credit card numbers or whatever it is that's sensitive to that organization. So our product puts product and privacy and security first.
Now, developer shortages and limited resources are slowing AI adoption. How does Generate with Intel help IT teams deploy AI faster, even with lean teams?
Yeah, so, I was talking to someone the other day and we are talking about generative AI, which is something that was really a hot buzzword about 6 months ago or so. And the irony was that we were talking about how that's really table stakes today. And that every application that's out there, if you're not doing generative AI, you're not even at the seat at the table type of thing, right? So agentic AI is what everyone's really talking about doing these days, where you can essentially take any type of process that's done on a regular basis, and you can memorialize that process so that when you use an AI application, instead of having to go in and write the prompt every time, you just simply click on what we call cards. And then it can launch that process so that you don't have to go in and replicate it and try and do those prompts. So through our agentic AI cards, that's where the developers out there, they can learn that very, very quickly. Engineering these days is getting much more simpler with natural language processing and things like that. I am not an engineer, but we are moving this world to the fact where someone like me, I could even create an engineering application just by telling a system what it is that we would want. So our agentic AI cards are kind of like more like I would make it akin to like an Excel spreadsheet. Anyone can type in things into the specific cells where they're just, words or something like that. But if you want to get more advanced to do pivot tables and things like that, there's some classroom training that you have to do, but it's not some full-fledged engineering degree that you need. So our agentic AI cards are really making it more simple to build these applications and introduce those efficiencies much more easily.
Wow, Kevin, a lot of amazing things here. Now, a lot of IT leaders are intrigued by AI, but are unsure how to start. Can you walk us through what Generate AI is, how it works, and how Intel enhances its capabilities?
Yeah, and that's I love the questions you're asking, by the way, because they're all spot on. So the key to, in my mind, what you just asked is within the question you asked. You use the word start. So AI is really new and scary and all those kinds of things to people that are out there. It reminds me of the coming of the internet back in the, late 1990s. And people were like trying to wrap their head around what is this world that we can use? How can we leverage just the internet in general for maybe, that becomes your storefront or something like that. And people were looking at it and trying to decipher it all. Same thing with AI. It's very, very similar. The key is to start. So don't worry about, not about doing an over analysis on all the things that are out there. Just do something. You don't have to go spend $10 million to try something and bet your entire company's, budget on doing something like that, but dip your toe in the water on something. If you want to introduce your efficiencies into something that you're doing, you have to do something, and then you can always pivot if it doesn't work, or you need to change vendors or whatever it might be. But sometimes when we're talking with organizations, it seems like they're stuck in, what they call it, paralysis by analysis, right? So they're constantly analyzing what's happening, and next thing you know, 6 months goes by and they still haven't done anything. So my encouragement to everyone that's out there is do something, figure something out, throw a stake in the ground and go to try that, right? And then your second question was about Intel. Intel's just been an amazing partner of ours. So I don't know if you know, but the story behind our partnership with them is that our founder took some stock Intel chips, dissected the processing power and how they were being used on the back end in the lab, and repurposed them towards some AI functionality that he was building, and it made it really, really efficient. And so when Intel got word that that's what he had done without Intel's help, that's where the partnership began. Now we've been working closely with Intel in the lab and building better chips and optimizing our products on their processors and things like that. So that's really how our relationship fits, and how Intel's just been an amazing partner in the journey.
Also intriguing. But now, can you share a quick demo of Generate AI in action? Ideally, one that shows how it works with Intel powered infrastructure.
Sure. So move over here to my screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I always, whenever I present and show a demo of our products, I always want it to be like it's your first day using the system. That's what I would want to see. If I would be like, let's show me this as if I just got this and now I'm going to kind of make it my own, right? So with our system here, this is just our homepage, and there's a lot of terms that some people are familiar with and others aren't. So I'm going to use some terms that are fairly basic that most people are going to know. But we use something called RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's a very fancy way to say that you're going to be able to take this stock LLM and make it your own personal LLM by training it on what's important to you. So you're going to be able to take documents and things like that and put it into our system. So then when you query our system, it's leveraging what you gave it, because it's basically understands that that's what you want to use to ask your questions, right? So if you go over to the integration side of things here, I always just start on settings, because if you just wanted to pick a document, you could pick a document here. If you wanted to pick an entire folder that's local on your machine, you can do that as well. But what most people do is you connect with some type of back-end repository that's holding the majority of your documents. So we integrate with all the major ones, right? You can see on the screen here, Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, even some things like QuickBooks and Slack, Monday.com, right? Things that people use. We can connect directly with them, and then you can ingest those documents into our system to, again, make it your own. So if you can see here, we are a Google shop. That's why my Google box is checked here. And I'm going to go from this screen. I'm just going to go back to the home page. And if you look on the left-hand side, this is my RAG. So these are all the documents that I had pulled into my own system here to basically make it my own. Okay, so just for demo purposes, I'm going to just show you really what I think is the most important thing, because our product, right? The main reason that it's different and other organizations want to use it, it's the privacy and security side that we talked about, right? So these are the two main reasons. If you look down here, right, our product right now is not connected to the internet, my instance. Okay. So this is all running locally, and we do this in a enterprise environment where we can hook into major backend systems that are housing that data, or you can run it on an AI PC, which is great for people that are on the move, right? Remember I talked about a couple minutes ago that our product is not bi-directional, but that doesn't mean you can't go out to the internet to get information. So if I wanted to do that, I can simply click on this button here. And what that will do then, if I'm going to query the internet, or I'm going to have a query like when did World War II end or something like that, right? It'll essentially go out to the internet and pull information down regarding that as well. But the key from the privacy, compliance, and security side is the fact that it's not bi-directional. So no one can make a mistake, and I can't upload anything from my system that then goes out to the internet. That's when the problems come into play, where companies lose data, okay? So that's how you can do that there. I'm just going to run something really quickly here just to demonstrate the agentic AI that I talked about. So these cards that are here that you can see, these are all agentic AI cards that we've created, right? So create an RFP response, right? Analyze marketing campaigns, things like that. I'm just going to do for an example. I'm just going to click on compare two documents. If you think about the use cases for this, right? Like let's say you're a legal department and the legal department has acquired another company. That company may have they're going to have customers that signed agreements with their organization, right? Well, then when you acquire them, they become your customers, but they're on the contract from that company that you acquired. Then obviously the acquiring company has their own customer contracts as well. The legal department may want to jump in and say, what are the difference between these two contracts? So they can quickly just compare and contrast where the differences are, because they now have both that combined customer base. So basically you can come in here, right? And I'm just going to show you as an example, and I'll actually use Intel for this just to see what you can do here, right? So this is calling on my RAG here. I'm going to pick a file, and let's just compare some Intel processors. So let's compare the Platinum version of an Intel processor here. And then we're going to come in, and then next we'll compare the Silver version. So we'll compare these two documents and just see how they stack up against one another. So now these essentially what they're doing is they're taking the information from these two, and it's going to start to create a response here just to show us if you're looking at doing something like this. And you can just imagine this is really just a general use case. For people that are viewing this, I really want you to think about your organization, because what we're doing here, you may not have a need to compare and contrast Intel processors, right, on which one that you want. But think about anything that's going on in your environment that you may want to compare and contrast. That's where this card essentially can go in and do this work for you. You can see here it's generating the response here, showing the similarities between the two. It's actually going to pop up some tables here in a minute just to break down the different functionality, including price and things like that, right? Like another example of something that someone may use this for would be, let's say you're in the finance group and your role and responsibility is to compare and contrast a profit and loss report from last month with this month. Well, that's something you probably need to do every single month. With this system, all you would need to do is ingest the P&L reports from any given month that you want to get that comparison going. And then you would just click on those two documents and it would give you a comparison report between the two of those things. I've said a lot here. Are there any questions, Killer?
And all of that data is secure because it's running locally, right?
That's exactly right. So this is something where we can do, again, on the server side, you think about bigger jobs, right? The beauty of this is the fact that it's like, if you put yourself in my shoes as the business guy over at Iterate, right? The product itself, hopefully people can see what the power of that is, right? And that it can perform a lot of really important jobs. Well, then you start to make it like, what would I need to do in my own environment? If you think about this, if you're a salesperson and you're on the road all the time and you want your AI assistant to work on an airplane, if the Wi-Fi is down, you can run your AI assistant and it'll still work. We actually had a meeting at an organization, a very large company. The conference room they chose, the Wi-Fi didn't reach the back room. And they were super frustrated because they were trying to get the Wi-Fi connection to work. And we were like, that doesn't really matter. We're offline anyway, so we can run this offline. So for situations like that, it comes in really handy. If you have bigger jobs, though, any AI PC, it doesn't matter how powerful it is, it's not going to be able to query against a huge backend system like a Pure Storage, NetApp, Nutanix, right? These big storage facilities. It's just not going to have enough horsepower. So we can also deploy on an enterprise side in a private cloud. So if you set that up where there's a direct connect there, you can run big jobs on the back end to be able to do that. And again, you don't have to risk going out to the internet to be able to do that as well.
Kevin, how does Generate address specific challenges across different industries?
We are really industry agnostic, Kenna. So if you think about what we do, right, with an AI assistant, this is specific to our Generate product, right? That AI assistant can be used by any department. It can be used by any industry that's out there. There's all kinds of efficiencies that every organization has. Everybody has a HR department, marketing, finance. It doesn't matter what your industry is. So we can go across those. But if you think about what we're doing from the private and local deployment side of things, the organizations that are super interested in what we're doing are the regulated and compliance industries. So healthcare, finance, insurance, SLED, right? State and local government, as well as education, which has to deal with FERPA regulations. If you're in a regulated industry, back again to the cybersecurity thing that I talked about before, if you're someone who's in a compliance department, I mean, how nice is it to be able to take this kind of a solution to your company and be like, everybody wants to use an AI assistant and I've been the one that's shutting it down. You can now not have to shut that down. You can be like, here's an AI assistant that we can use because I'm confident that our data is going to be protected and secured. So those regulated industries, we have customers that are not in regulated industries, but they're the ones that are really like, hey, I heard you have a local AI assistant. We'd like to learn more about that.
Kevin, you gave us some great information here. Where can we learn more?
So www.iterate, which is iterate.ai, is the place where you can go to find this information. And I'm guessing you're going to have my information as well as a result of this, Kenna, that'll be provided for them. So anyone's welcome to contact me directly, and I'll put you in touch with the right people.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining me here and giving us that great demo. I definitely learned a lot.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Kenna.
And thank you for tuning in. For The Channel Company, I'm Kenna Johnson.